Well, all of this transpired. The main event transpired in the United States. Racism still exists everywhere, and it sparked protests worldwide. So, do you think there are more specific things that Canadians need to focus on in order to address the racism here? Or are the steps towards equality more so universal across, you know, anywhere that you may be?
For me, it's a little bit of both. Um, these issues are worldwide, and you clearly saw that during the protests and the solidarity that happened all over the world, and racism happens in different forms all over the world, um, towards any group. Um, when you're talking about the Canadian context, it's a little bit tricky because there is this false sense of we're not like that, or a false sense of comparison, which is at least we're not as bad as the U.S. Therefore, we don't have to address it, which I think is a fair assessment to say. However, it's not true. And you can clearly see that if you've taken classes that address these issues. If you go back in history and just look at the formation of Canada in itself, it was based on the narrative that a certain group saw itself better than one, and Canada as we know it is formed. Um, but I think we need to address it. Um, the issue then comes in the sense of people don't want to feel guilty, so it's better to just um, completely ignore it. But I always say guilt is a very powerful emotion, and if we use it um, correctly, it can influence a positive change. And that positive change is in regards to addressing, as I said, the history, looking at policies that are working till today and in affecting the lives of not only people of like color, but new immigrants that are coming into this country. And so there are so many things that we're ignoring, and I wish more people in Canada did not use that narrative of at least we're not as bad as the US to clean up what's happening here in Canada.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost a dangerous thing. And even if, like you said, it may be somewhat of a fair assessment, it's dangerous at any point to downplay racism anywhere.
Oh, can I speak a bit
Yes,
again?
absolutely.
I 100% agree with Heaven, and that's why I'm impressed you guys got such brilliant mind to be here to speak on this matter. So, like what she said, it's similar and different. It's similar in the sense that racism all over the world it still boils down to hate, just hating on people because they are different, hating on people just by their skin color, and all the negative stereotypes and prejudice that goes along with it. But it's unique to Canada because there's this false sense of virtue signal. I don't know why I associated with Canada. Like everyone just believes they're nice, like they are the good brother of the US, whereas US is just this racist place. Whereas in Canada, first off, the racism is it's targeted mostly towards indigenous peoples, although blacks are also affected, but just based on the history, indigenous people feel the brunt of the racism the most. And also, so just as Heaven said, it's just, I feel like the guilt, that's something, but it's just because they feel like people think Canadians are just nice. People believe they are much better than the US. So it's like they don't feel like they need to do much just because of that reputation of, oh, we are the good guys. So that's what I wanted to add. Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. I think that it kind of plays into the idea of, inaction and how this sort of ignorance of saying, oh, Canadians are so nice, at least we're not as bad as America, that in itself is ignorance and can lead into inaction. And I'm sure that that you've heard this saying, especially over the past few months, that inaction in itself is action. And so
Mhm.
these mentalities definitely build into that action through inaction.